Please tell me if you can see it. If you can't see it, just shout out to me. Everyone can see my screen? Okay, brilliant. Let's get going. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me first, and just quickly, very briefly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Just tell you where I've come from and where I'm going right now. Welcome, Michael Rosen. Wonderful to see you as well. So let's start right at the beginning. The word I've coined right now is called designosaur. What's a designosaur? And it's not necessarily a negative connotation, but there are a lot of people in the world right now that design interiors, exteriors, and the biggest issue in the world right now is everyone is hearing about AI, but super intimidated by what AI can provide because there's so many fragments and it's so new. And it leaves most people feeling like they're going to be redundant or extinct soon. And I was just speaking to my mother this afternoon, and she said to me, Jason, do you remember you sat with me 2 years ago and you said to me and your dad that my teaching would come to an end because of AI, because everything that I taught was human intervention. And I just remembered having that conversation with them, and it's completely the opposite, because AI is getting easier. It's amplifying our creativity like never before. And as the months go by, it just gets more exciting. And so what I wanted to suggest to everyone is not to be this person. You can see AI learning, adapting, evolving, potential threat to humanity, right? That's what AI is going to do to us. I don't trust AI. Can you see the slide, or is it too dark? If you can't see it, just shout out. Also, people are fearing job privacy, control. Keep humans in control. Don't lose control. And it's almost like fake news. It's completely the opposite. So tonight we're going to speak about that. It's super important to know that AI right now, the way I'm seeing it and feeling it, is here to take us to the next level of creativity like we've never experienced before. We are sitting as pioneers on the cutting edge of technology that's helping us. We are sitting at the frontier of the biggest change in the last 5,000 years that's happening to mankind. And if you don't have goosebumps on your back right now, you should. Because this is the truth. I'm not here trying to blow my horn. From what I see happening on a weekly basis, I've never seen anything like it. The closest thing we could compare it to as a community is to a genie in the bottle, right, Patrick? It's a genie in the bottle. I think Patrick coined that term a couple of weeks ago. Pat's busy in our client magnet. And the second problem that architects and designers have, this is a bit dramatic, but it's cool because AI helped me create this. Everything tonight, AI helped me do, is that we sit in our worlds as designers at our desks, and no one knows that we exist. We're working so hard, and it's almost like we've been gagged into silence because we have to deal with all the design work that we're doing. This guy's name is Archie Blueprint, and he's pretty cool. You can see it's 3:17 a.m. in the morning. and he's got all these client changes. And yet no one knows the poor guy exists. No one knows he exists because why? He didn't learn the skills of getting out there in the world. And why are we speaking about that? Why are we speaking about that? It's a bit earlier in the morning here. Is because with AI, right, we can now show the world who we are. And the reason for that is simply because it's exponentially powerful and it saves us time. We don't need to stress anymore. We can produce the most mind-blowing design content. And your next question might be, oh, it's going to do all the work for us. No, it's not. You're going to tell it what to do according to your intellect. It's going to pivot off you as a human being. It's not going to, if you wanted to do stuff without thinking, you can. But as design architects that are trained, that understand how design works, it is a tool. Just like Norman Foster said, the pencil and computer are equally dumb. They're only as good as the person driving them. I actually think he said the pencil and the pen, but that also includes artificial intelligence. It's like a magic, I don't even want to call it a pen. I don't even know how to quantify it. And you will remain in control. And that misnomer, that misunderstanding is what's making every designer freak out right now. The lack of control. But on the contrary, from what we're seeing, it's going to explode your control. I wonder what Frank Lloyd Wright would have said, right? If he had these tools. I can't imagine what he would have said. But in my next slide, maybe next week, I'll say something about it. But let's get going because we've got such a super exciting evening. Who am I? And there I am. By the way, this was created with AI. You can see the AI stamp, but it didn't give me such a great complexion. So I'm going to complain to OpenAI about that. But this is the client magnet formula amplifier. And the whole idea about today is how do we embrace design? So my career as a design architect spanning 26 years has been launching projects. These are just a few. There've been at least 70 different projects. Work at the really pre-concept and concept design phases to bring the projects into large commercial firms. And I launched those projects. And some of them manifest into real fees and some don't. It's a numbers game, especially working in the corporate world. So that's what I've been doing for a while. Here are just some of the projects that I refurbed with AI recently. This is a museum down in the Aqaba Gulf, really close to the Sinai Peninsula. So that's one of the projects which was enhanced with AI. And this was also a shopping center in Pretoria, which we won a few $100 million. And it's been built and constructed. It's a massive shopping center. Here is there's a red mark on it. Here is a shopping center in Africa, open plan shopping center. And really, you'll see later where they came from. But normally everything that we do starts with rational. So I'm not coming at this whole process as a quick fix. We plan, we do planning, we work with grid structures, we completely detail the planning before we even engage in anything. So I'm not coming to this presentation tonight to brag to you that you can push a button and do this. You can't. The human intellect needs to be part of the planning side, and then you can start to do all the very exciting things from, this is a retail shopping center in South Africa, and I've probably done about 50 shopping centers and specialize in retail. So who am I? I'm this guy here on the left, and this would be my daily grind. Absolutely love working in commercial firms, but more so as a consultant. But really what happened to me early in my career is I need to find a way to break free of being constrained in the corporate world. I really like the feeling of being an entrepreneur. So all my thrust in my trajectory in my career was about being independent and finding ways to do that. And then what happened is I really became very excited about sharing my skills. Here's some of the shopping centers this is the Tshwane Mall in Pretoria. This is the Ballito Mall in Ballito Bay, South Africa. This is in Akija. I think Akija's in Nigeria. And then this is the Da Vinci Hotel. It's called the Da Vinci right now. It's a 5-star hotel in Johannesburg, South Africa. I've also been very privileged to do online marketing, generated a school of over 400 students, and also, thank God, been able to market online and generate 6 figures from my marketing skills. From the marketing side of being an architect, there's definitely a lot of ground that I've covered in the last 7 years. So when I talk about marketing, I have been mentored by so many different marketers and combined that with architecture. And here we go. I live in Jerusalem right now and I love it. It's a very eclectic city, a combination of old and new. And we're going to go quickly and originally come from Johannesburg, South Africa, which is unfortunately not the safest place in the world, but very close to all these magnificent national parks like the Kruger Park and just really beautiful country, an amazing country. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump into another diagram now, and we're going to get deeper into this process. And we are going to start off at the beginning. And it's super important to do that because this is how it was in the old days. Is everyone following me? 1 second, guys. I've got a child opening my studio here. So the old days really are so different to what's happening now. It took years and sometimes months to produce projects. And that's the difficulty of the past, the labor intensity. Let me just grab a nice thick pen here. I'm using something called Miro. It's a fantastic package. And if you want to collaborate online, you could use a similar package to this and you can hook up some pens. And here you got a nice big red pen. Can everyone see that? Okay, great. Okay, so the old days, I'm talking 2 years ago, things were super difficult because just simply time is so limited. So when it comes to production, it would take days to produce something, produce ideas. And the biggest problem is that because of that, we remain hidden. We remain hidden in our worlds behind our computer, like I said earlier. And now this is what's changed. What's changed is that we can create content super fast. We can create design content unlike anything I've ever seen before. And the only reason I know about it is because every single week since July last year, we've been collaborating as a team. We have around about a studio of about 20 people that have collaborating all the time with the latest tech. And it's just phenomenal. We're staying on top of the wave, and it's just really been amazing. So what do we do with AI is that we create new ideas. What that means is we can completely generate conceptual design from scratch in the most astounding way. We're going to see all of this in a few minutes. I'm going to jump into it deep. You're going to be blown away. Hopefully, you're going to be blown away. You can refurb architectural ideas, photographs of houses, of buildings. You can refurb your old projects. What does that mean? You can take your portfolio out from 15 years ago and start upgrading it. Right? It's astounding what you can do. You can absolutely use your Revit models, your ArchiCAD models, your Vectorworks models. You can completely control the process. I'm going to use the highlighter, I guess would be a bit better. Yeah, you can completely control the process as well. So we have the ability to create conceptual design, and we have the ability to control design process with AI. And it's been a huge discovery to get those two worlds working in synergy. But every single week, with the latest technology coming into play, and it changes weekly, and things introduce themselves very quickly into the market. But once we create content, and we've got the opportunity to do it right now, we can share that content on the internet. We can share it. And the way we share is we don't do it in a sleazy way, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm the best architect in the world, I can help you. And we don't do that. We offer value. We teach people how to think about certain criteria in architecture and or design. You can be an interior designer. You can do it in any facet. You just need to be creative. And besides that, we use AI to do that. So no sleazy sales tactics to get people to notice us online, because we all have a social circle, and that social circle is offline and online. And it's like a concentric circle where you have people that are in your personal circles, and then in your business circles, and then in the greater circles. And so when you share your work on the internet, it's going to create an awareness. And as frequently as you do this, the awareness will gain some sort of kinetic, exponential growth. And we're going to speak about that tonight. So how does AI really work? Now, this is fundamental to what you need to know. It's not difficult. It's actually very easy. AI pivots off 2D imagery. What do I mean by 2D imagery? I don't mean it's not a perspective. It's a flat piece of image, like a perspective on a piece of paper. So you don't need necessarily to use SketchUp or Revit or ArchiCAD. You don't need that. You just need an image of some sort. It could be an elevation, it could be a plan, but it could also be a rough sketch, or it could be any medium, even something that you've drawn on a tissue paper or a serviette. Okay, you could use that, but it needs to be uploaded to AI. Now, obviously, like we spoke about earlier, you can create new ideas, you can refurb photos, you can refurb old projects, you can sketch new ideas, new 3D models, and then control them. You can also use AI to do all your narratives, which is extremely powerful. And not only that, with AI, we can also create people and emotions in our projects. So let's talk about that. So there are two forms of AI. It's just really a global eye view. There's semi-controlled AI, which I like to call uncontrolled, but this is to do conceptual design, and it's really powerful. It's the most powerful process I've ever seen in my life. And we use softwares like Midjourney for that. And then we've got controlled AI. But there are about several applications that we use. The great news is that to control an idea is highly possible every single time you do something. So we've got the idea world over here, and then we've got the design process, which is more of a honing down into your design process as a designer would traditionally do. And so I've tried to break it up as simply as possible. I do have a more complex version of this, and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. This is pretty straightforward stuff. I'm going to repeat it. The first thing is ideas, which we just spoke about, and ideation. And the second thing is controlled design, which we just spoke about, which is over here. And the third thing is video animation. So we can create images first in the idea phase and in the controlled phase. And then we can also use those images to create video. So there's three sort of phases in production that we have power over. Now, what I wanted to say to you is we've already spoken about what you can use it for, right? Upgrading your portfolio and so on and so forth. But we still use Revit, SketchUp, and Photoshop if we want to. You don't need to, But if you want to control your design, you can still use all the softwares you're being used right now. And the most important thing with AI, this is the foundation, right? We're going 9:24, so I'm going to try to go quicker, is that you need to know how to prompt. What is prompting? Prompting, there are three types of prompting. There's visual prompting, where we use imagery to prompt. There's style prompting, where we can use styles like watercolor, oil painting. We have variations of styles as Architect's Blueprint, rotring pen, fine liner. There are different, hundreds of different styles. And then there's text prompting. And the way we use AI is by learning how to use these processes first. It's the first thing. And normally when I teach my process, I start here with ideation. Ideas are the place I always start. And then as we go on, it becomes more refined. So I'm going to talk about the different platforms right now, just to give you an overview of what's happening in the world right now. This is not just me. This is most of the world of architecture. These are the platforms that we're using right now. We're using Google Gemini. We're using Midjourney. We're using ChatGPT. Oops. Let me use the highlighter. We're using ChatGPT. We're using Grok, Elon Musk's software. We're using Claude for market research, as well as for writing narratives. And we're using ML for control. And Midjourney right at the beginning there for ideation. These tools each have their strengths. They each have something very special about them for designers like us. So it's just about knowing how to piece the puzzle together. That's the biggest problem in the world. There's so many fragments, right? Do you agree with me? There's like just so much fragmentation and knowledge out there. So we need to pull that all together into a holistic whole and get that to work for us. And that's the most difficult part. And you can't do that alone. You need to do that together with a studio. And what I mean by a studio is when you were at design school, you had a studio with your lecturers and with your classmates. That type of thing is what keeps you moving in the right direction. So once we've got the production right, once we manage to produce content, and I can tell you right now that producing content can take you half an hour, it can take you 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, but it will never take you more than like a half a day to do a project. And we've got architects in this group right now that are producing the most astounding work I have ever seen. And I'm going to show you some of that just now. So once you manage to master production, and this is not an overnight process, it can take a couple of weeks to, I would say, a month to get to understand how you use things really easy, because you need to practice. You can't just, as a sportsman, if you're a golfer, get onto the golf course and hit a ball down the middle of those magnificent fairways that they create. You need to practice. And so that's the key. AI doesn't do everything for you, but once you've managed to get it right, then you can start distributing online. And now the things that are so important is that you need to have a website. So there's an easy way to create a website right now. I use a very powerful, easy way. There are a couple of people that are using my process right now. It's just super, super easy. And then, so you need a portfolio online, and then you need to be able to share posts online. They can be static images, they can be videos, and you need to manage to get those back, the people that click on them, to come and grab a gift from you. It's like giving them a bottle of champagne before Christmas. So you create a whole lot of gifts, and we'll speak about that. But this really, in my process, is the whole entire process for architects. Obviously, if you've got clients, you don't have to do this process. A lot of people work in corporate firms and they don't have to generate clientele. So you don't need this, but at least having this part is super important. And distribution, I believe, is the most important thing, because if no one knows you exist, then what's the point? If you are working in a small, medium firm, you won't manage to make it through the process. So what I wanted to tell you right now is what I want to suggest is we can take a look at a couple of projects. And I want to show you what we've been doing as a community as well as a school, because there's some really cool stuff in there and you'll get an idea of how it is working. So let's jump into this project first. It's the refurb. What I wanted to suggest is these images show how you can use AI to refurb space. Now, if you've got a mobile camera, everyone's got a mobile camera, right? You've got Android or you've got an iPhone. Excuse me, let me just have a sip of my soda. Everyone's got the ability to take a photo. So you might land up going into a space like this. Let me just, can everyone see this space? Give me 1 second. It's on the other screen. I've got two screens open. Can you see this terrible space? Like a haunted house, right? Eh? So you imagine you go into this ruined house and this is what, so you could take a photograph. This is over exaggerated. Really, I created this. It's not a real photo, but it could be a real photo. But you could take a photograph of it and then you could say to the owner, or if it's still owned by someone, you could say to him, listen, I'm going to give you something tomorrow that's going to really help you envisage what you could do. And you could use AI to refurb that space, right? So there's that transition. That's the mind-blowing transition. You can walk into, I'll give you a few ideas. You could walk into a restaurant that was really in shambles, or a bar or a pub or any physical space that you can imagine. And you can take photographs and you can refurb, which is super, super powerful. Here's another one. Walking, maybe you've gone on a hike and you bump into this house in ruins, right? Take a photograph of it, show this to the owner the next day. Okay. You see the power? Unbelievable, right? So it's not just about what the software can do and the applications can do. It's about how you need to think about it from a business point of view. Because as a designer, it's wonderful being a designer, but you've also got to put food on the table for your family and your friends or whoever you're living with. You've got to be able to provide. So you can use AI in an entrepreneurial way to start to evoke work, to bring work into your domain by just quickly using AI, right? So, for instance, here's another in ruin, terrible. Take a look at this place. It's even got some acrylic paint on the wall here, a tire. It's got some rubbish bags, unbelievably filthy. And you could refurb it. And that transition from initial photograph to what it possibly be is something that you could leverage AI. You can make hundreds and thousands of dollars or pounds doing this. You need to decide, are you going to go out there and do it? You could go into a restaurant, contact the restaurant owner and say, listen, we want to fix this up for you, right? And the next day, maybe leave a couple of days because you don't want to say you did it so quickly. You want to give yourself some time. But this is a typical road in Jerusalem. The buildings in Jerusalem were built 1948, very quickly, tilt-up construction. They all, in my area, a very upmarket area, by the way, they cost a fortune. They're terrible. They look shocking. This is the main street up the road from me, but we have a lot of French immigrants coming here and buying buildings and refurbing. So there's a lot of gentrification happening right now. So I'm just giving you an example of what you could do, right? Watch this. So initially, it straightened it up for me. And then I started getting the AI to kick in and eventually came up with a refurb suggestion, right? So you can see the process here, right? Let's go back. That's where I started. I took a snap from my car. I was sitting in my car. And this is my hardware shop. This is where I go buy my I don't know, accessories, if you want to call it that, and broomsticks and whatnot. And on the left is a deli. But there you go. So you can create this vision for your clients, and you can make new clients by introducing the black aluminium windows, the balustrading. Take a look at how shocking this building was at the beginning. It's absolutely a wreck. And after maybe about half an hour of deliberating what to do, I prompted it into being a much cleaner, refurbished project. Here's a bathroom, also just over dramatized, but take a look at what you can do. Okay, so I'm trying to embed this idea within you that you've got to embrace AI because it could change the way you leverage your skills. And that is definitely something that you could do part-time and really generate so much work. Then there's more controlled design, and we're going to speak about that right now. You can take elevations and you can bring them into, let me see where that is. There you go. Like a drawing like this. It could be an elevation, and you can bring it to life in this way very quickly. In fact, what it tried to do while we were prompting it, it created plans for us. And this project probably took half an hour to put together. So you can imagine what you can do. Take a look at the visuals here. Let me see if I can find a better visual. Here we go. Here's a better visual. So you can really get everything moving in the right direction very quickly. Let's take a look at some more work. Here is a concept sketch. Very crude, right? There's no real detail in here. Bring it to life extremely quickly. You need to know what to tell it. You need to know how to speak to AI. It's very important. And that's something that we do within our magnets, and it's extremely important. I'll just show you refurbing work. This is a SketchUp model only. I used to teach how to render with SketchUp because it was super quick. I was very interested in streamlining processes so that you can work quickly. But this shot was transformed into this shot with AI. But I needed the base model, even the face. Take a look at the Ciara face there on the right, Chwani logo. That's how you say it in South African Zulu, Chwani. And there you go. So you can see there's been this massive interpretation. It's on a different level to what SketchUp used to provide. So let's take a look. Let's go even deeper, right? I'm just going to give you an overview of everything. Planning. Let's talk about planning. Let me just see if I can show you. These are Revit plans. Can you see the drawing? This is the project I just did in Ghana. So we needed to render this up quickly. And in fact, when I worked in commercial firms, I had a friend, her name was Chantel, and her profession was just to mock up floor plans to make them look amazing, put bamboo flooring in or put decking in, carpets and shadows, and bring them to life. So we can now do this extremely quickly. So here's the plan. And this is what AI can offer you. It's incredible. And literally taking a few minutes to put this together, not even any Photoshop. It maintained the dimensioning. Very easy. Here's another style, same building, same project, just a different flow out. Also can give you different styles like watercolor and so on and so forth. Is everyone on board still? Any questions yet? Okay, great. Let's move forward. Okay, now it gets very exciting because there are ways of taking drawings. This is quite a sophisticated, I guess, hand drawing, but you can draw on top of stuff, right? And AI will start to reinterpret that according to your prompts. So it gets really into what you want to try and do. I asked it to create a New York skyline, a beautiful tree, also this couch in front of the bed, and I wanted a picture of Monet on the wall. And it did it. I also prompted it to do the sheets and the bedding with gold thread in it. And I don't like navy blue. But I was just playing and just to see if it would achieve that. And it put an olive tree like I prompted it, and it also put a skyline outside the window. Incredible miracles. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And we did it live in a training. So it's absolutely completely doable. Take a look at this, guys. Beautiful, right? So I asked this avatar to have an Elvis styled haircut. Initially, he came out too big for the bed. We reduced it 25%. But I'm sure Barbara was watching it, right? Barbara, you were there, right? So I think he's still a little bit big, but we can play around in Photoshop and get him smaller. But a fantastic process. Not only did it do that and helped us do that, you must understand, you need to know how to do the stuff. It produced some technical drawings for us. And it did an elevation of the bed, it did a side view of the bed, and it did some details and labeled it. So if you are interiors, or if you're showing off some sort of interior project, the plan, whatever, wasn't accurate, but sometimes it does screw up things. But most of it is 100% correct. And it also did an exploded sort of deconstruction of the site, which I don't have here. I don't see it. Okay. So that's the first thing. Okay. Then there's so many permutations of what it offers. Let's just quickly take a look at two more. And what I'm going to suggest is, the other day we tried to push the boundaries. We pushed the boundaries of AI to see if it could cope with this particular product. Now, what I want to suggest is that this design was inspired by Frank Gehry, but it is not Frank Gehry. This is the drawing here of Frank Gehry's, but I created my own version of it, and my line work is completely original. This is not Frank Gehry, but it was inspired by this drawing. And I'm going to show you how it came out. Take a look at this. Now, it created this exactly according to my sketch. And it's just astounding how it did it. I've just looked at an animation of what we did about 2 weeks ago, and I'm just like, it's just so unbelievable, the tools that we have. And obviously the styles that we use and all of the visual styles that we use, there's certain ways to get an absolutely magnificent finish out of all your styles. But let's move forward, because that was created. Besides that, it created a whole bunch of technical drawings with our guidance. Okay. And you can see this is a view of the site plan with parking, and it's very proportional. I don't know if it's 100% correct, but it's given us some sort of structural conceptual design and a section. Now, this is mind-blowing stuff. Mind-blowing, because AI right now has an unbelievable intellect. I actually don't know the level it's at right now, but I would say the IQ is well over 1100 right now, where I think, you can correct me, Einstein was about 175. So maybe I'm wrong. I could very well be wrong, but you can look those statistics. It also created from my prompting. Let me just show you the interior. Sorry, I've got a video here. So I just want to find the still shot. Give me 1 second to find the still shot. Okay. So if you can see, I'm going to open this video. It helped us create this. And this is a video. Just let me play it for you. Can you see the interior here? Okay, watch this. You can do this too. You just got to know how to do it, right? Believe you me, you can do this too. All you need is a PC. You don't need software. You need 1 or 2 applications, and you can do it as well.
This place is abs- Look at these flowing lines and metallic curves. The light just dances across the surfaces. What an incredible space.
So that's just an interior, right? Let's just go a little bit further. It created
The city that refuses to.
it. Guys, can you hear the lady speaking? You can hear? I'm going to share the sound and then you'll be able to hear it better. Okay, let's see.
The city that refuses to stand still. Here, steel does not submit to gravity. It argues with it. Towers lean into each other like giants mid-conversation. The city that.
So that's just a snippet, but extremely powerful. It's creating, that's one of our architects, Robert Crone, put him in the video just to, so we're using a combination of tools to put this all together. It's a very interesting process, a little bit of practice, but everyone can do it. And you can get these phenomenal results. Let me just show you one more thing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And just let me get back to my folder. What I wanted to suggest, here are some still shots of a similar space. We used a prompt last night actually to do this, to see if we could achieve the externalities of the elevation on the inside, and it came out really well. Now, you need to understand these aren't quick fixes. We've got methods in place to pull the stuff off really easily, but there's certain flows that you need to understand to get it looking unbelievable. This is something absolutely wonderful that happened last night. Is we got some elevations happening from a new AR software that's helping us produce these elevations. It's exactly taken from the perspective and the quality of these elevations as a designer presenting it in a first meeting or on another level. I've never seen anything as unbelievable as this. And you must understand, we were pushing the envelope here with complexity. So we were giving it the most complex information that we could to see if it could pull it off, and it did it. And we were all clapping our hands, being a little bit dramatic about that. But that's exactly what's happening right now. Now, the beauty about all of this is that, let me just see if I can show you some more information. Let me just go in here. Is for your presentations, this is just going a little bit further, is that AR also helps us produce music. And so once you've completed a visual animation, which I'm going to show you right now, AR creates original music in the same way. So it's the same method, the same mindset. And these are just some of the songs. They sound like they've been created in a music studio. And I know it's got nothing really to do about design, but when you have a presentation and you need to create a mood, you need some sort of music, right? So you can produce soundtracks for your digital animations right now. And every single person in this group right now, I don't really believe age is a differentiating factor. The older you are, the better. The more veteran, the more intellectual you are. You can do everything that I'm going to show you right now. So let's just listen to one. You'll hear. Can you hear that?
Should I be clean? But only so du café. You can create any music, lyrics. You can tell AI to mix your favorite sounds together, French music, Arabic music, Greek music. You could ask it to be slow, fast, and then you can integrate it into your motion. Now, last but not least, I want to just show you, obviously, I don't want to miss anything. So just want to see if I've covered everything here. Okay, great. I think we've covered most of it, but let's just get into the final process. Okay. So obviously you may have seen this video. Did everyone see this video online? Okay. So
the reason why I'm getting so excited about this is that I had no information the day before about this project. So yesterday afternoon, I created and finalized this project and created a cinematic project that was in the past only possible if you had a studio or a movie studio. To produce something like this would have run into hundreds and thousands of dollars. And it's cost me $30 because that's what I pay for my AI application. And I didn't have a video camera. I didn't have any photographs of this. I didn't have a third party helping me. And I managed to put this whole presentation together, not because I'm gloating about how great I am. That's not what this is about. It's about you. You can, if I can do it, you can do it too. But the problem with people is they're absolutely frightened about the process. And I can tell you right now that the process is completely accessible, even if you don't know how to draw a plan in CAD. I can empower you to do stuff like this within weeks. And if you really advance, you can accomplish it in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. You could get to know how to do stuff. If you're really slow, maybe 8 weeks. Anyway, to cut a long story short, not only did I manage to create this presentation, it all came from ideation, but I managed to narrate it with the voice of Richard Attenborough. So when you listen to it, it explains the project, right? Let's listen to it just once. We'll only watch half a minute.
Let's create some lyric with in the natural surrounding. Dear. Let's create some lyric on Norway and the natural surroundings we did.
Now I want you to imagine this. Did everyone see that video flow, or was it a bit jerky? A bit jerky? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got a link for you on YouTube, which I would like you guys, if you could right now, just see if this works out for you. We'll just spend 2 minutes doing this. I'm going to paste it in the chat. Just click on it on your side. This is the one with the narration of Richard Attenborough on top of this. It sounds like Richard Attenborough. It's not really him, but just give it a click and see. Can everyone see it in the chat? Just nod your head if you can't or can. Okay, I can't hear you, but go for it. You can. Okay, what we're going to just share this. Okay, so is everyone got? You can watch it afterwards. I just wanted you to get access to it, just to understand the potential. This is the potential. You can create it. Now, what I want you to do, I'm not trying to hypnotize you here. I'm trying to say to you that you could think of a concept that you wanted to do and you could produce this for someone. right? You really can. You just need a little bit of guidance, and you need to be able to implement the strategy. And what I wanted to say, that quality that you're hearing right now on your side with YouTube, can everyone hear me still? Is completely accessible. It's not difficult, just a little bit of practice. And what I wanted to say once again to everyone is that we are starting again on the 30th of April, which is in a few days. And we are registering for the 4th Client Magnet Accelerator this year. It's a super powerful program where we're going to show you how to do everything I spoke about, but in more detail. Unfortunately, there's not enough time tonight to show you everything. You need at least 4 to 5 weeks to get deeply into it. And then we allow people to practice and get to know how to do it. Obviously, it takes more time. So it's a very flexible sort of, sometimes it can last for 6 weeks, 7 weeks. But right now, we are opening up registration for 10 people. I only have space for 10 people. I like to keep it very intimate. And what I wanted to suggest is if you've got any emails from me, just reply with the word direct over here, and I'll send you a link to dig deeper into how to get started. Obviously, everything will come to you via email. I'll send you a link and you can check it out. You can check out the program and what's happening in fine detail. And even if you want to just jump into your email now, if you're interested, there's no obligation. Just send me the word direct. Just hit reply to an email and I'll send you those details right now, and you can decide if it's a fit for you.